if Descendants was made in the 2000s. July 31st, 2015, Descendants premiered as Disney Channel's new original movie musical. The movie would take place in present-day Oregon, where Ben, the son of King Adam, also known as Beast, and Queen Belle, offers a chance of redemption for the troublemaking offspring of Disney's classic villains, Cruella de Vil, Maleficent, the Evil Queen, and Jafar. Playing the role of Ben, we have Mitchell Hope, and for the role of the villain's kids, we have Dove Cameron as Mal, Cameron Boyce as Carlos, Sophia Carson as Evie, and Boo Boo Stewart as Jay. It has now been 10 years since Descendants premiered, with the movie now turning into an entire franchise with several sequels that are still ongoing to this day, as well as an animated spin-off show and several items of merchandise. And somehow the idea of Descendants existing in the 2000s rather than the 2010s just now crossed my mind. And if it did exist in the 2000s, which prominent Disney star, specifically in musicals, would have been picked to play these iconic roles? So let's dive in and get some clarity. Starting with Doug, who is the son of Dopey from Snow White. He is a sweet, kind-hearted gentleman who is a bit socially awkward. He also has a huge crush on one of the main villain kids, Evie. And honestly, picking an actor to play this role wasn't necessarily difficult, but the fact that there's a huge range of different actors to pick from, it did make it hard to narrow it down. But I ended up going with two actors in particular. First, we have Ricky Ullman, who is known for his role as Phil in Phil of the Future, as well as his Disney Channel original movie, Pixel Perfect. And next we have Jason Dolley, who is quite the Disney darling. His career stretches from the late 2000s to the mid-2010s. He has a lot of characters that he has played, and there are several that fit the personality of Doug. Both of Ricky's characters from his films definitely fit the socially awkward but kind-hearted vibe of Doug. And for Jason Dolley, his characters in Read It and Weep, as well as Hatching Pete, closely mirror the same personality traits. Lonnie is the daughter of Mulan and Li Sheng. She's ambitious, caring, brave, determined, and very friendly. And the best actress I think to play her would definitely be another Disney Channel favorite, Brenda Song. Brenda's role in Wendy Wu, Homecoming Warrior, I feel like is very close to Lonnie's character. They both have a bit of goofiness that lines up their character, but they also know how to stand their ground whenever they need to. Even though Brenda's been in so many projects on Disney Channel, I don't think we've ever seen her in a musical, so I'm not too sure if she's really a good singer or a dancer. But since Lonnie herself doesn't really play a huge part in the dancing or singing parts of Descendants, I feel like Brenda would be in the clear for this role. Chad is the son of both Cinderella and Prince Charming, more specifically, Brandy's Cinderella, though from his personality, you really could not tell that his mother would be someone as sweet as Cinderella. He is very arrogant, he's selfish, and has a very bad habit of being manipulative. He can also be quite mean to others around him, specifically the villain kids, and with his character within each movie, he also has a tendency to be misogynistic and shows little to no redeeming qualities. But the actor I choose to play Chad Charming is Kyle Schmidt. This actor may not be very well known within some Disney Channel fans unless you were a DCOM watcher, which is quite literally the only thing that he is in Disney Channel wise. He is the main character in the Disney Channel original movie Alley Cat Strike and the love interest to Galleria and the first Cheetah Girls, which is probably the role he is most known for, at least in the world of Disney Channel. Derek, the character he plays in Cheetah Girls, was a very kind and sweet character and didn't really have too many of the traits that Chad Charming has. He did used to tease Galleria, but it was more in a flirtatious way as well as having a bit of playful competitiveness. The only trait that I can say that he 100% shares with Chad, the fact that he was indeed very charming. But I honestly could totally see him playing a more conniving character like Chad Charming, which is why I think he would be a good fit for this role. Jane is the daughter of the fairy godmother from Cinderella. She is shown to be very shy and insecure, but as the films go on, she does turn into a more confident character who finds a passion in guiding and coordination. The first person to pop into my mind for this character is Olesya Rulin. Olesya plays the role of Kelsey in all three High School Musicals, as well as having other roles in the Halloween franchise and several other DCOMs. But the best example of why I think she could play Jane in Descendants is her role as Kelsey in High School Musical. Kelsey is seen to be shy and insecure as well. She is afraid of Sharpay and more of a people pleaser who follows orders, but by the end of the movie and within the next movies, she becomes more sure of herself and more comfortable and confident. She even finds strength in her passions. I feel like she would do a great job in this role, not to mention that they both have that cute doe-eyed look. Audrey is the daughter of Princess Aurora and Prince Philip from Sleeping Beauty. She is portrayed as being vain, insecure, as well as self-absorbed. This extends into the next movies, where she becomes more jealous and envious as well as vengeful. In Sing, as eventually she plays somewhat a bigger part in the franchise, as well as getting her own solo, which I love very much, I had to make sure I picked someone who could not only do well as her character, but also be able to perform her songs. And this was genuinely really hard to pick. I'm still not 100% on my choices, but my first choice would be Adrienne Bailon. Though she has done several roles within Disney Channel, the specific roles I'll be focusing in on are Chanel from the Cheetah Girls, as well as her playing a bully on That's So Raven. From the look of how she acted within these characters, I really do feel like she'd be able to pull off Audrey's passive-aggressive attitude and personality, not to mention that Adrienne has a beautiful singing voice and would easily be able to perform her song. Another person I also had in mind is Vanessa Hudgens. Don't let her role as Gabriella fool you. This girl can play a range of characters, and I truly feel like she'd be able to pull off this one very well, and she can of course sing and perform Audrey's songs. Ben is the main love interest to the villain kid, Mal. He is the son of Belle and Beast, and his personality is portrayed to be optimistic, good-hearted, compassionate, patient, and very gentle. He is also brave, friendly, and smart, and is the reason why the villain kids were given a chance to come over to Oregon. I feel like this is an obvious pick, but Zac Efron to me is a very good choice to play the role of Ben. He is of course known for his role as Troy Bolton in the High School Musical franchise, and Ben's character in so many moments reminds me of Troy. And yes, maybe I do just want to hear Zac sing Did I Mention, which very ironically, Ben's actor Mitchell Hope doesn't actually sing his songs within the first movie, which is the same thing that happened to Zac Efron, where Drew Seeley sings for him in the first movie, while both Mitchell Hope and Zac Efron do get to sing in the next few movies. Jay is the son of Jafar from Aladdin. He is cunning, very confident, athletic, and is very aware that he is handsome, but he is also very loyal, kind, and open-minded. Picking who to play Jay was honestly a little bit difficult because I had to choose somebody who could dance, sing, and had the same type of charm and charisma as Jay, and undeniably I kept coming back to Corbin Bleu. I don't know why, but I just feel like he would be so good in this role. Considering that two of his biggest roles from High School Musical as well as his own movie, Jump In, embody a lot of the same traits as Jay, it really made me realize that I would love to see Corbin Bleu being in this type of musical and this type of universe playing this character. Carlos is the son of Cruella de Vil, and when we first meet him, he is very anxious and has a strong fear of dogs due to the amount of false truths his mother planted in him from a very young age, up until he was a teenager. But aside from that, he is also a very kind and gentle soul, and he is finally able to become more confident and sure of himself. Carlos, by the way, is by far one of my favorite Descendants characters, and it was very difficult to figure out which Disney star could really embody this role, and my final pick is for Sean Fagan. Most probably know him from Shake It Up, where he plays Ty, the brother of Zendaya's character, Rocky Blue. But for me, the character I'm thinking about that is more so closer to Carlos is his character from Camp Rock. He has so much energy, he's adorable, and he's an amazing dancer, even though he tends to fade into the background due to him not being a main character and not having that many lines. But I feel like if you rewatch Camp Rock as well as the second one, you can really see how similar his character is to Carlos in different ways. Evie is the daughter of the evil queen from Snow White, which makes it even more ironic that she ends up with Dopey's son. But she's very kind, very intelligent, a hopeless romantic, and absolutely loves fashion. And as her character progresses through the series, she quickly becomes one of my personal favorites, with her standing in her own morals as well as becoming more secure in herself. And my pick for this role would be Demi Lovato. Seeing the roles that she has played in Sunny with a Chance as well as Camp Rock, she has that bright sweetness that Evie displays, as well as having an outgoing personality, even on the other side of Evie that is more graceful, calm, and collected, as well as strong-minded. I feel like Demi's role as Princess Rosalinda in Princess Protection Program mirrors that perfectly. We don't even have to discuss the singing side of Evie's character. She would obviously have it in the bag. And could you just imagine Demi with the dark blue hair, the dark blue makeup? I just think she would look so stunning, and especially the outfits as well. And thinking more into the fact that she would be coupled up with Doug, I just think that Jason Dolley and Demi would be a better pairing than Ricky and Demi. Mal is the daughter of Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty, and we later find out that her father is Hades from Hercules. Mal's personality is cunning, very intelligent, as well as rebellious and sometimes vengeful. But as her character grows, she becomes more compassionate and even shows her deep desire to be a better person, to be good instead of evil. She is also the leader of the villain kids, and due to these characteristics, I feel like a certain character that was very prominent during the Disney Channel 2000s era comes to mind, and that is Alex Russo from Wizards of Waverly Place. Add on the fact that both of them have a love for spells and magic, I feel like Selena Gomez would perfectly fit this role. Also, a lot of the acting choices that Dove Cameron displays reminds me a lot of Selena's for Alex, and same as Demi, I would love to see Selena in this whole entire look of purple hair, as well as these outfits. Also, the fact that Mal and Evie are supposed to be very close, their dynamic, especially during the 2000s, mirrors the friendship of Demi and Selena, even looking at it from the perspective of their roles in Princess Protection Program. Their personalities, in my opinion, almost go hand in hand with Mal and Evie's. Now let's discuss the elephant in the room. Selena Gomez is a great singer, but it would be a bit of a stretch to say that she has the same capabilities as Dove Cameron, but I still do think that they'd be able to mold the songs around Selena Gomez's voice and what she can do within her range, since she would be the main character of this movie. And with Descendants now taking place in the 2000s, obviously the music and the styling of the characters might be a bit different. A lot of the clothing takes a big inspiration from Disney characters who took place in so many different eras. So in terms of style, the dresses look pretty different from what we probably would have seen in the 2000s. I honestly would look no further than 2000s prom dresses. There's a lot of satin, ruffles, jewels. The dresses are more so sleek to the figure of the body, but with the flowy hem, as well as a lot of strapless dresses and halter necklines, which do vary from the ones that are used in the original Descendants movies, because again, we are in the mid-2010s, so we're seeing a lot more collared necklines, belted waists, a pretty big variety and use of materials, colors, as well as textures. So we see a lot of lace mixed with satin fabrics as well as jewels. We also see a lot more boat or high necklines, which were very popular within shirts and dresses for teen girls during the 2010s, and they take more inspiration from, of course, the dresses that were popular during that time in the 2010s among teenagers, which were a lot more princess-like, stereotypical poofy dress, more strapless looks with tight waistlines, more so with a decorative bow around it, heavy jewels, and a good use of materials and layering. Even looking at the styling for the boys from Oregon, very much casual, preppy, formal style, which is something that was pretty popular in the 2000s due to movies and shows like Gossip Girl, which I could see Chad kind of going with the more Nate Archibald preppy look, so more of a bad boy but still a clean, formal look, whereas Doug reminds me more of the styling of Cody Martin from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. So again, still outfits that were popular during that time. There really isn't much of a difference. Mal and Evie, in my opinion, would probably give more 2000s witch vibe, so like the craft type outfits. Yes, I do realize that the craft is technically mid-late 90s, but you can still see the huge influence of the 90s within the early 2000s. The outfits in the craft also remind me a lot of what Alex Russo wears in Wizards of Waverly Place, which is a late 2000s show. But to give it more of a villainy Descendants vibe, they would probably have a more 2000s punk type of look within their styling as well as makeup and hair. Carlos gives skater boy vibes. I think he could have a lot of influence from 2000s boy bands with the baggier suits and shorts, which is already something that he literally wears. I think that Jay kind of gives me more of a 2000s streetwear, but I think he would probably have more tighter shirts again to give off that kind of pretty boy feel that his character has in the original Descendants, while also mixing aesthetics, giving him a more 2000s punk vibe as well, so darker colors, belts, and lots of accessories. But when it comes to the music, I honestly still think that a lot of it as well would mostly stay the same. The ballads are very Disney Channel. I think the one thing that I would say would probably change is the heavy use of dance pop and dubstep within some of the songs, mostly within the first movie. I think that we'd probably hear a lot more of pop rock, which is something that Disney Channel is definitely bringing back into their songs within their musicals. I'm now hearing it within Zombies 4 and even within Descendants 4 as well, which in my opinion makes it feel more like Disney Channel. The more Broadway style songs like Evil Like Me would most likely stay that way, not to mention that Disney Channel loves some horns and some jazz, which can definitely be heard within some of their musicals in the 2000s, like High School Musical with I Can't Dance. But with the songs that are performed not by the cast, we have Believe by Shawn Mendes, which literally jogged my memory because I forgot he was even on this soundtrack. But adding a male pop singer from the 2000s, it would probably be Jesse McCartney or even Drew Seeley. And then we have The Night Is Young by China Emma Klein, who is of course a Disney star at this time, but is also a future Descendants cast. I think for this one, I would choose Raven Simone. She was very prominent during the 2000s. Sophia Carson also gets a run to the chorus solo, which I think it's technically for the Wicked World series, but this is very canon even in this fake universe of Descendants existing in the 2000s, because Demi Lovato would be playing Evie, so of course she would get a solo. But that is pretty much all for this video. Let me know what you guys think about my recastings as well as who you think should be picked. Remember, this is just for fun. It is okay to disagree, but disagree respectfully. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I very much hope you enjoyed, and with all that said, were you given some clarity?